So I took a hiatus for a month, and then they banned Vylord. They gave me Alfred, and I finally had enough money to, get a new mic and camera. Thanks, mom. So, anyways, we're gonna talk about a deck that also involves a mom, a Catholic woman at that. And the question is Bell Sisters worth it today? And why is this better than Rezai already? Hey, what's going, guys? I'm Isu4 here. Today I am back to cover the Cell Gaon deck, because we are playing 4 Cell Gaon in his deck. Surprise, yippee, haha. Congrats all Cell Gaon players. I feel bad for Luat though. I kind of wish Luat also got the Cell Gaon back, but it's okay. Today we're here to talk about Arrozconleche
Lech, I think it's like.
Lech.
Apparently you have to roll your tongue when you pronounce this day. That's what the Europeans told me.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay. I have no idea. But anyways, this is a Keter Sanctuary promo boss. For Japanese format, we got it in March, April.
And English will get it in June, I think.
I think they're actually going to get it earlier, because I heard they pushed up the Grand Grace promo by a month.
Oh yeah, then you guys might get it
I hope English gets it soon, because this is a really fun deck, and I wanted to get someone really fun to talk about this deck. Today we have Fade of Fourth back.
Hello.
Welcome back, Fade of Fourth.
I've been waiting for this deck for very long. So yes, I am indeed here.
I think all Hexorb fans can agree that half of their sexual appeal is now in the new guy. So, yeah. Okay, talk about this deck in overview. What does this deck do?
So basically, this deck is a budget Tsukiyomi in standard, but can also pivot towards a more aggressive play style, because you do have quite a lot of you do have one very strong attacker that almost none of Keter Sanctuary can actually abuse her, but except this deck.
Oh.
So I think if you want to play, so this deck can actually pivot into play into there are a lot of different ways, but the main way is that you can threaten with the stacking and stack with the bottom stack speed run of your triggers, and then you can just kill people with hitting double trigger every turn, or you can pivot towards playing the more aggressive playstyle instead.
Wow,
Yeah.
that actually sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that out of the way, then let's talk about this deck then.
Okay.
So this deck has a really cool mechanic that you can stack the deck if you actually remember your cards. So it is a lot like Tsukuyomi, but it does have a lot of the non-conventional strengths of Keter. So we get into that. Our starter is the Hexorb starter. This is
Tri-Connect.
Sorceress, yeah. So she's
guys, you should know Command Rush. Could you know Hexorb got Command Rusher this set? I just want you to know that. I just want you to know they wasted a double rare slot that could have been given to Hellraiser on a Command Rusher for Hexorb.
They're still gonna give a Hellraiser double rare, you know.
They gave a Command Rusher to Hexorb. Of all the cards we can give Hexorb, they give you a Command Rusher.
Look. I invited you, not M Crafter, today, because I did not want people to complain about, wow, Jiva. Okay, so our grade 1 is Tranquilia. Tranquilia is just a generic that's really open and really good. So you flip 3 cards of different grade from your hand when rolled upon. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, call a grade 1 or less from among them, and then you shuffle your deck. If you fail to call a grade 1 or less, you get to call this girl out instead. While Soul is a bit tight for this deck, at least to my understanding, we have Salgaon, Rezal doesn't. So that's the reason why we are playing this. Also because there is no good Bell Sister grade 1 in the right deck, this is the closest you get.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't want to play the Blaster Blade right deck in this deck. That guy is an Alfred, baby. Alfred is coming to town. Yeah. Our grade 2 is
Gato Bus.
So this is a Divine Sister actually.
So this is Divine Sister Gato Bus. So she was originally in the Gram Grace standard deck set, and then obviously because she's a right line, so she got a promo version as the FR that you can get in
WGP.
Your WGP, or in your English case is the BCS promo packs.
Wait, so you budget 3 different Keter decks to build this right line?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Tell me what it does.
So Gato Bus effect is basically just the same as the Rising Star Vargula's effect.
Don't
so
say
it's
that.
Just so when you write into the next card in your right deck, which is your grade 3, instead of paying discard 1 for the cost, you pay Soul Blast 1 instead.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good, right?
So basically you have 1 free ride up, and then your Tranquilia nets you back 1. So basically the right line basically pays for itself back. The entire right line pays for itself back in a sense.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay, let's talk about the boss then.
The Divine Sister Arrozconleche. So Arrozconleche is a, I think she's for being a promo boss that relies on support. All support is all common and rares, I think, and 1 triple rare. I think Aura is pretty good. So her act ability is once per turn. On Vanguard Circle, color blast 1. You look at the top 7 cards in your deck, and you may reveal 2 cards from among them that have Divine Sister in their name. One of them you put to your hand, and the other one you call to the rearguard circle, and then the rest go back to the bottom of the deck in any order. So you can rearrange the bottom of the deck with how many triggers that you triggers or PGs or whatever, or cell one that you see, and you put at the bottom.
Wait, you don't shuffle?
You don't shuffle, no.
Damn.
Yeah. Then the auto ability is what gives the deck the pressure. So it's when this unit attacks, you Soul Blast a card in your soul. There is a Divine Sister in this card name, so that's why we're playing the Grade 2 Divine Sister, because then at least if you don't see any other Divine Sister, you can just use this as soul cost. Then you choose one of your Divine Sister. Yeah, you choose one of your Divine Sister rearguards and stand them, and for each grade of the unit that is stood, the stood unit gains plus 5k. So if it's a grade 1, it gains 5k. If it's a grade 2, it gains 10k. If it's a grade 3, it gains 15k.
Oh wow.
And at the end of the turn, the unit that is stood by this card ability goes into soul. So by default, it's a 4 attack deck. And it also has one more special cost, which is very reminiscent of very OG D era, which is that if you Soul Blast a card with the same name as Arroz, so basically like you just Soul Blast Arroz herself, then instead of standing 1 and giving the power, you stand 2 and give both of them the power. So basically it turns the deck from a 4 attack deck to a 5 attack deck. And also you stack a lot of triggers, and you can eventually reverse stack a deck. So not only are you reverse stacking triggers and being able to hit a lot more, break through a lot to the pass, you also get 5 attacks as well, and your rearguards also get quite a lot of power.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this deck generally just scales and pluses quite a fair bit.
I wouldn't say it scales, but it's more so it can pressure the opponent with just sheer like bluffing of what the top deck is, because you do reverse stack a deck, so you do remember what the sequence is, and you're able to accurately predict when you're gonna check more than one trigger and which trigger you're gonna check.
So this is the most Oracle Think Tank deck we have right now.
Yes.
So you literally can do the whole like Dragon Ball Z, manipulate the whole deck, that kind of bullshit, and
Yes.
it works.
Yes, you can.
Wow, this is quite scary. Ooh, yeah. Okay, let's save that for the summary. Our grade 3 is obviously we play 4 of her. I don't think this was up for contention.
Yeah.
You want to hit Persona Rights, and for the rest of this deck, you do play a lot of Battle Sisters. Divine Sisters, because you actually want to hit the archetype name. There is an exception. We stole it from someone else, so if you recognize this guy, let us know in the comment section below. The rest of our grade 3s, we have... This is the one from the Lolligami.
This is the
right?
DZBTO2 Divine Sister, yes.
Who is she?
Okay, I will need to search for the names.
And then we have one more. I think this one's pretty good. I think the skill works pretty well with this one. But you generally need to play both of these in this deck.
Okay, so
yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna go with Divine Sister Bune first. So
Okay.
Bune is a common from DZBTO2, and it's art drawn by Sienna's artist.
Yes.
So her skill is that her skill is very simple. When this card is placed from deck, until the end of the turn, it gets 15,000 power.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's really good.
It just gains 50. So originally this was meant to be Leon Morta support, because Leon Morta is the only other main deck in this format that actually calls cards to rearguard circle. Except now we have an actual boss that just at top 7 call a card to rear from deck to rear.
Okay, I'm going to put links in the description below right now for the Blond Ezel deck profile, because clearly someone forgot Blond Ezel exists.
Yeah, Blond Ezel doesn't exist.
Blond Ezel doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
so Bune is your biggest attacker in the deck because it's a 28k if it's placed on deck, and then when Arroz can restand her, she gets 15k because she's a grade 3. So
that's
she
pretty
goes
good.
from 28 to 43.
By yourself for free?
By herself, yes, for free.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after that we have Battle Sister Kunafa.
Kunafa.
So Kunafa is more so just because we need to fill up more Battle Sister attacker names, and also because her skill is actually pretty good for if you don't have Bune on the rearguard circle, because her skill is that rearguard circle at the end of the battle that she attacks, if this turn this unit has either been caught from deck by your Vanguard's ability or stood by your Vanguard's ability, you put her into your soul, and then you choose another one of your rearguards and you give it 5,000 power.
Wow.
So there's a combo that you can do to avoid getting your board wiped by Balsagra, which is that you can call this from Arroz's effect, which blocks her second ability, which blocks one of her conditions, but you restand the unit on the other column. So both, because the thing that is restored will go into the soul, and she will go into the soul because you did call her from card effect, so you can use her own effect to put her into the soul, and you can put your other front row rearguard into the soul, so you can basically clear your front row in that sense.
And avoid buff Sagra.
Yes.
Well, that's really good.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, she's not as big as Bune, but she does give 5k to the other thing, which means that you make your other side have more pressure. So overall, just a decent attacker.
Alright.
Yes.
So moving on to our grade 2s then. Our grade 2s we have from the right deck,
Gato Bask.
Gato Bask. And then of course for the rest of the deck we have 4 copies of an old friend. This is
Long the
Long the Chat.
Yes.
Oh.
Chat 1 Warriors Rest, 1 Twinkas,
Biscotti.
and 4 copies of Biscotti. So the Divine Sister Biscotti finally has a archetype to find her home in, because I think Raziel has thrown out a long time ago. I think
So did he.
Leon Morta also threw out a long time ago. Basically, almost all Keter decks don't really play Biscotti anymore. So
Majesty or Blaster
now
Placer?
finally Biscotti has a place to actually like
Majesty or Blaster Placer?
actually has a point because she's searchable.
But Majesty or Blaster Placer?
Yeah. So Biscotti's effect is that when placed on when discarded specifically to write into the right deck or to place on Garden Circle, you either Counter Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to draw a card. So that's the generic Gun Cycler effect. And then the second ability is that auto, when this card is placed on Red Gun Circle, if you have Persona Ridden this turn, you may either Counter Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you choose one card from among them, you put it on the top of your deck, and the other 2 cards that you looked at go to the bottom. So this also helps with the stacking for Arroz, because you do get to stack the bottom of the deck. And if you call this card out during your main phase, you get to the card, instead of putting the card on the top, you can choose to call the card onto the Red Gun Circle instead. So it also helps you build a board. So because let's say if you find this off of your Arroz top 7, you can actually choose to call it on the turn that you Persona Ride to actually build the board faster.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So also Biscotti, I mean, is searchable. It's the best device sister that we have technically, because it's a triple rare. So it has usually have more text written on it. So it is pretty good. And then we'll just go through the Blitz orders first.
Sure.
So Twin Cast is the Regardless Peace play in this deck. So the more aggressive version of this deck will play Fire Regardless, because Fire Regardless can also call Brunei.
Okay.
But because this is more of the tempo version of the deck, you want to try and stall so that you can manipulate the bottom of the deck and then reach the stack eventually. So that's why I play Twin Cast, because it doesn't shuffle the deck. You can play Ladder if you want to also play, if you want to have a more resist game plan, but I think Twin Cast is just better because this deck is lacking shield.
Okay.
Yeah, then we play Warriors Rest, because actually Warriors Rest is actually a very strong offensive order to play in this deck, because you do have restanding front row, so that will keep the 10k after they have been boosted for the first swing. So if you forget what Warriors Rest does, it's actually quite an old order. It came out in DZBTO1. What Warriors Rest does is that you can play for Energy Blast 2, and you choose 2 of your, I think it's here, you choose two of your front row, you choose 2 of your units, and again the ability is that when this card is boosted, the boosted unit gains 10k.
Yes.
Yeah. So that means that they keep the 10k for the turn. Yep. Which means that when Arroz restands your 2 front row, they also get to keep the 10k for the turn. And if you have 5 units upon activating this order, then you draw 1.
Which basically means 4 rear guards.
Yeah, so if you have, so basically like you spam your entire board onto the field and then you play Warriors Rest, you basically net back the Warriors Rest back into your hand.
Damn, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, so Warriors Rest is not bad. You actually can play more. There's actually a list that topped the local tournament recently that actually plays like 3 Warriors Rest.
Oh!
But so you can choose to play that, but that's the more aggressive version there, because it does give very, very good numbers to Arroz.
Okay. And
of course, we have our all reliable Luck the Chat, which is the strongest booster they have, because the only condition is that if you have a grade 3 in the soul, this unit gains 5k and boost.
which is so easy because half this deck is grade 3.
And also because your attackers go into the soul after they've been restood at the end of the turn, so it means that it automatically sets up the grade 3 soul.
I see.
Yeah, so that's why Luck the Chat is very strong for this deck.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about grade 1s then. Our grade 1s,
Oh, this should be fun.
bring about this. We have 2 copies of Small,
Yes.
3 copies of, I forgot her name, I'm so sorry.
This should be Dark Horse.
Dark Horse,
Yes.
2 copies of this one's the next one.
Fasciata.
Fasciata, 4 Perfect Guards. And then we have a guest appearance. I'm not explaining this card. You're not going to explain this card. No one's going to explain this card. If you don't know what it does, I'm sorry.
It helps to
it helps you win.
No, it helps you to filter hand, and also helps you stack the bottom with the triggers faster. So it's actually very synergistic with this deck, despite not being a device system.
It's the only non-engine we play, right?
Yeah, for this version of the deck, yes, the only non-engine.
So it's that strong. So remember, Reza players, sell it to me. I am looking to buy it. For Perfect Guards, we want to stay alive. Not much to explain here.
Yes.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
So we can talk about Fasciata.
Sure.
So Fasciata is a card that's put in here since the very first set of Overdress. And
2021, baby.
I mean, she isn't. I in all the games that I played of this deck, you actually never really block her at all.
Oh.
Because this deck actually has quite a good it doesn't really, it basically just needs to use like one to two counter blasts a turn. You usually try to win by turn 5, so you don't really need the CC. But the CC can come in handy in like really worst case scenario. The game goes on to turn 7, turn 8, and you can actually win because you know what your trigger stack is.
Oh.
So Fasciata effect is that when you check a trigger unit once per turn, you can Soul Blast 2 the counter charge 1. And this deck will be checking triggers because it is the trigger manipulation deck. So
I see.
yeah, so Fasciata is not bad. Then we have Dark Quest. So Dark Quest skill is basically almost the same as the Dragon Tree Wretch that Keter has. With the Soda Sarkap. So it's when a unit is placed in the same column as her, by card ability, you counter blast 1 to draw a card.
Oh.
And yeah, and the rest of the ability is only if you have a Solaron Vanguard and she gets
doesn't
5k, but you know, since we're not.
So you're just using this as a Soda Sakat budget.
Yeah, because we do call things by a lot of card effects, so it does actually proc quite often.
That is nice.
Yeah.
And what does Small do again?
So Small, her skill is actually, so she's basically just here in the event that we never ever see other Divine Sisters. We need to fill the soul. So when she boosts, if you have 4 or more units on the board, you have two or more units on the board. Yeah, two or more other rear guards. She gets 2k for that turn, and at the end of that battle, then she goes into soul.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then the right line is Tranquilia. Okay, last but not least, we'll move on to our grade zeros. Our grade zeros, we obviously play the starter. This is the same
Try connect, yeah.
now. So it's pretty easy. This list uses what you probably expect: 4 heals, 4 fronts, because they are actually Divine Sister fronts.
Yeah.
And they move into soul. So
Yes.
very important.
Yes.
I will put links in the description for my soul front video. Just in case you want to understand more about the soul front, but just know that this is also a battle sister. I mean Divine Sister, so the synergy kind of writes itself there. We play 7 crits, and this one from Michael, and a blue tea because you want to kill people. Yeah, that's basically it.
That's basically it.
So yeah, that will end the deck profile for Arroz. So, what do you think about this deck overall?
I think it's a very, very fun design for standard, but obviously the deck's not going to be very competitive, but it is a very, very fun like budget deck. So because Biscotti is not say budget, but
the rest of the deck is.
The rest of the deck is all literally just common rare. So if you already own Biscotti, then this is actually a very, very easy deck to finish and build up.
And if you won't sell Gaon because you got thrown out Reza, you can play this one.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty fun. I've seen this deck in action before. If your pilot knows what he's doing, if he knows how to stack the deck and can stall you out till at least turn 4 or 5, you generally die. But this deck doesn't use a lot of the Keter generics that you know and love, so it does force you to think a bit differently, and it does use a lot of weird cards like all the great trees to move the soul along the chat. So it is not the same as other Keter decks, I would say, but especially if you're interested in either Bell Sisters, Divine Sisters, Catholic Women, I think definitely this is worth checking out. I think this is a deck that is pretty interesting for your time. It's not Estacion levels are good, it's not Barsaga levels are good. To get the joke there, the joke is that Barsaga got banned, but it's a pretty alright deck. I'll say this is about a good fun deck to pick up on a weekend if you want to try something, but it's not like format warping anyway. But I figured no one else would really talk about this deck, or at least not much, so I wanted to give this boss the coverage because I know there are Oracle Think Tank fans out there who are happy they got this. What do you think?
I mean, I myself am an Oracle Think Tank fan, if that wasn't evident enough.
Oh wow, what is
But
this?
if I'm just happy that finally we have a Divine Sister boss at all, and it does pay quite good homage to how the deck actually played back in the day, how OTT used to play back in the day. So I am quite happy.
I'm glad. I hope they pay homage to Royal Paladin how we used to play in the day. If we have 5 Red Guards, my Vanguard gets 10,000 power and cannot be boosted. But 23k Vanguard will surely crack the necks of my opponent's 20k Vanguard, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.